Welcome to Subscribe, the official podcast of The Scribe. We've got your daily dose of need-to-know news about, around, and outside of campus. My name is Cambria Schrank, and I am the co-editor-in-chief of The Scribe. This week, in case you missed it in news, William Phan reported on the new Clydes Road at UCCS and investigated its location and naming, as well as when and how it opened to the public. Clydes Way was opened on April 2nd in an effort to reduce the flow of traffic on Austin Bluffs Parkway and Nevada. Next, Allison Spear wrote about the possibility of the mask mandate being lifted from El Paso County and how this may affect the UCCS community, including potential differences between campus mask policies and off-campus student hotspots. Kaylin Harden also reported on the COVID-19 pandemic regarding vaccination progress in the state of Colorado, as well as the UCCS vaccination process. The first vaccination clinic was held at the Wellness Center on March 30th for student-facing in-person faculty and staff. 562 people were vaccinated during the first round of vaccinations. A second clinic will be held in April. Lucy Schwartz covered changes to graduation this year and investigated the reason behind the cancellation of the graduation fair. She reported on how graduates can sign up to participate in this photo op, which is still planned to proceed. Her article also discussed what graduating students can expect from this photo op, as well as the spring 2021 virtual graduation ceremony. Finally, Annika Schmidt covered the renovation of the Mosaic office, including where you can access the new office and its resources, Mosaic's plans for the rest of the semester, and how the recent renovations affected these plans. In culture, Lucy Schwartz reviewed Zack Snyder's Justice League, which she describes as a triumph for DC fans all around the world, just as much as it is for director Zack Snyder. She admitted that this film is absolutely not perfect, but that no film really is. Some of her friends have called it good in comparison, though she respectfully disagreed and gave Snyder's Cut a 4.5 out of 5 stars. The movie is available to watch on HBO. Then, Caitlin Dykeman wrote an article on Gen Z and millennials feuding over skinny jeans. She wrote that when it comes to clothes, Gen Z has an interesting way of expressing themselves. However, with the recent and ongoing dispute between millennial style and Gen Z's, it has become clear that the power is no longer in the older generation's hands, but instead, it's in ours. And that when it comes down to it, millennial style used to rule all platforms and media, all the way down to the classroom setting. And there was a time when it would spread like wildfire. But the new fire that blazes on nowadays belongs to Gen Z. It's the hard truth to swallow for the older generation, but it's the price of the times. Next, Isaac Warner reviewed The Unholy, a horror movie about a journalist who investigates the miraculous healings performed by a girl who was supposedly visited by the Virgin Mary. However, these healings may not be the result of a holy encounter, and something sinister seems to be at work. Isaac slammed the movie with a 2 out of 5 stars for being, and I quote, an unsatisfactory story highlighted by loud jump scares that left them feeling overstimulated and irritable. The Unholy is playing in theaters. Brandon Flannery wrote a student spotlight on Tamara and Sandra Curry. From Liberia to the U.S., Denver to Colorado Springs, the Curry twins' story is one of triumph with their graduation from UCCS coming up this May. Sandra and Tamara Curry were born in Houston but raised in Denver by their immigrant parents from Liberia. Graduating with a degree in inclusive elementary education, Sandra will teach upper elementary students at an international baccalaureate school in Denver, and Tamara, with a degree in business marketing, will take a job at 5280 Magazine as a marketing and advertising coordinator. This week, an opinion and life on the bluffs. Julia Elbert shared her opinion that Lil Nas X is controversial because we asked him to be. Julia wrote, blasting his way through news sources and social media platforms, Lil Nas X has shifted the earth. With the release of his Montero music video on YouTube, the Christian tectonic plates have been moved and there is an earthquake rumbling beneath our feet. However, she wrote, this has been building up for years in the LGBTQ+ community, not just for Lil Nas X. They have been ridiculed and told that they are going to hell for decades upon decades. Now, evangelical Christians and other religious groups are upset. But why? Isaac Warner argued in their opinion article that racism and professionalism have an unfortunate relationship. They wrote that the stigma behind body modifications, and particularly tattoos, existed long before our 9-to-5 office jobs. Instead, it is a part of something much bigger and more dangerous than any can expect. It's racism. Julia Jackson wrote an opinion piece on why autism awareness and Autism Speaks are misleading. She wrote that April is popularly known as Autism Awareness Month, including April 2nd as Autism Awareness Day, thanks to terminology originally recognized by Autism Speaks and the United Nations in 2008. Among autistic people and self-advocate organizations, it is Autism Acceptance Month. So why the difference? Julia explains why Autism Acceptance Month is more inclusive and respectful in her article. Next, this week, Cosmic Cannibal told you what 2021 Venus in Taurus means for your zodiac sign. Love is in the air, she wrote, but only for a few zodiac signs, and it's all thanks to Venus in Taurus. On Wednesday, April 14th, love planet Venus moved into the passive earth sign Taurus, gently beefing up our appetites for romance and relating until May 8th. She also wrote on which 5 zodiac signs will be positively affected by 2021 Venus in Taurus in a follow-up article. And finally, in sports, Brianna Biesi reported that UCCS men and women's golf teams climbed up the scoreboard for tournaments on April 4th and 5th. UCCS men's golf finished in 5th place in the Western New Mexico University Mustang Intercollegiate Tournament. Meanwhile, UCCS women's golf finished in 9th place at the West Texas A&M Desert Invite. Next, Julia Elbert recapped the softball season. She wrote that the UCCS softball program has 13 losses and 17 wins across the board, with the conference stats sitting at 12 and 14. With the season sitting at an almost evened out standing, the team has worked together to compile a nice log of statistics. While the team is sitting at a losing season, there is still time for them to pull together. Devin Martinez let our readers know that women's soccer assembled a comeback to end a season undefeated after winning against Metropolitan State University of Denver, Colorado. The game helped UCCS extend their regular season winning streak to 30 games. The Mountain Lions will host the RMAC quarterfinal match on Tuesday, April 20th. The team will await the announcement of their opponent and game time this week. Devin also wrote on UCCS track and field and how they broke several records during their 2-day matchup in the Maverick Multi-An Open hosted by Colorado Mesa University last weekend. And that was your Subscribe Story Recap. Join us here on UCCS Radio every day at noon. Want to stay up to date on Scribe news in between episodes? Follow us on Instagram at UCCS Scribe and check out our website, scribe.uccs.edu. And while you're at it, follow UCCS Radio on Instagram and Facebook at UCCS Radio and on Twitter at UCCS Online Radio. Thanks for listening.